the big names, Pat, have won like a ton of the tournaments leading into the Masters. I was talking to my producer Tyler off air, and we were just like, Scheffler, Rory, Rahm. It's just like one of the big names seems to win a lot of these tournaments, and these are the three favorites going into this tournament. We haven't had like some of the crazy prices necessarily. And so why don't we just start with these kind of big three? They're priced pretty similarly, like 7-1, 8-1, 9-1 everywhere. If you had to bet on one of the big three to win the Masters, who would you bet on? And conversely, this is one of those fun tournaments where you could actually bet the no if you wanted to on one of these three guys at like minus 1,000 to not win. If you had to bet one to win, who would you be most confident in? If you had to bet one of them to not win, who would you also be the most confident in?
I would bet Scheffler to win. That's what I'm really toying with. I don't actually have that many Masters bets in so far, at least in the outright market, mainly because I need to make a decision at the top. I do think Scottie Scheffler is going to win. Do I want to back that at 7-1, 8-1? I did see an 850 hanging around. I should probably go bet that now because it'll probably be gone. But he is the one that stands out above the rest, with him being the repeat champion, number one player in the world. I know no one has won back-to-back Masters since Tiger did so, but come on now. No one has been better situated as a Masters champion to repeat than Scheffler. He's playing better at this point in time than he was last year coming into the event. He's not putting well at the moment. He just won the Players by 5 shots and lost strokes to the field on the green. It's insane to think about. So even if he has like an average putting week, he's going to win by 3. It feels like the only way he's not going to win. Well, there's 2 factors because the weather looks horrendous. But if he just has a terrible putting week, which can happen to him, that's usually when you see his downswing. He'll go through like 8 straight events where he's losing 5 strokes a week on the green. And then that will stop and he'll start winning every tournament again. So it'd be Scheffler number 1 for me. It's probably Rahm not going to win at this point. Like whatever happened to him after round 1 at Bay Hill when he was the first round leader, everyone just kind of signed off like, well, another Rahm win, make it 3 in a row, whatever it is. Since that round, he's been not bad, but he certainly hasn't been good and not dominant the way that he was in California. And when you do go look at his splits, there's a lot of guys like this. Like Scheffler never really played all that great in California. Jon Rahm, I believe his top 5 percentage in California over his career is something like 70%, which is just absolutely insane to think about in terms of a golf rate. But once you get him outside of California, he's a bit more mortal. He has a great Masters history, but no wins. Same as Rory. All this great Masters history, he needs it to complete the Grand Slam, but no wins. So if you want to ask me who's going to win, it's Scheffler.
I was gonna ask you about Tiger, but you mentioned the weather, and for our listeners and viewers that are not aware of this story right now, it's like starting to become a huge story and probably will continue to become one over the next couple days here. Fill our listeners and viewers in here on what the weather is supposed to be like at Augusta later this week and into the weekend, and how it might potentially impact, Pat, the way that you handicap this tournament or the way that you bet it.
It's a wait and see type situation for me right now because I cap the weather every single week when it comes to golf. I look on Sunday, I look on Monday, and the chances of the weather looking the same on Monday as it does on late Wednesday night, right before the tournament, are a little bit different. So right now it's showing rain starting around 4 o'clock at Augusta on Thursday and essentially going all the way through to Sunday. So I don't know if they're going to play on Friday. I don't know if they're going to play on Saturday. And it looks frigid. I'm not like too up to date on how Fahrenheit works. I'm not American. It seems like the weirdest, most made up way to talk about temperature of all time. But it said it was going to be 50 degrees and raining and 25 mile per hour winds. I went and converted that to my Celsius calculator. That's like 5 degrees or 8 degrees or something. That sounds like absolutely horrendous conditions to play golf. And if that's actually how it holds up when I get to Wednesday night, you best believe I'm looking at some pudgy Euros to win this event.
I'm curious, Pat, if you also think that means maybe we get like a random champion too, because the conditions get pretty crazy. Maybe somebody we're not expecting wins. Maybe one of the live guys wins, because that's like one of the big storylines here, right? Is the first kind of like big major championship where we have the commingling of the PGA golfers and the live golfers, and they're paired together. And a lot of us haven't really seen the live golfers play in a really long time. So Cam Smith, 20, Dustin's in the field, Brooks Koepka, who won a live event or something. You could talk about that maybe last week. Bryson, what are you doing with the live golf? Fading them, playing on them, because we're all kind of thinking they can't do anything. What about the live golfers this week?
I want to bet the live golfers who actually have good value. Like Cam Smith is good value at 22-1. If he was still on the PGA Tour and hadn't played since last year's Open Championship, he'd be 15-1 in this field right now. So he's getting a knock against him because he plays on live. But there are rumors that he's not healthy. So I don't know how valid those are, because in the golf world, I mean, you think that Bill Belichick is creative with the way that he submits injury reports. Golf, you have to rely on the guy to whether or not he wants to mention anything or not. So it's a fool's gold. Fool's errand, at least, to try to predict injuries here. But I'm probably not going to play Cam Smith. Dustin is really the one that I have interest in. I don't have interest in Brooks, who, yeah, he won Live Orlando last week. That's great news. He was 75-1 10 days ago, and now he's 30-1 or something crazy like that. Like, he didn't get significantly better over that time. His true price should be around like 60, 70, whatever that was. It's now a bad bet to make it. Bryson is broken, so you can't really do anything with him. Same as Phil, but there's a few guys down the board, like Patrick Reed's playing some good golf, even on non-live. He did end up coming in second to Rory over in Abu Dhabi earlier this year. Like, Rory had to make a 17-foot putt on the 72nd hole in order to beat Patrick Reed in that tournament. Abraham Answer, the next week, played on the Asian Tour with PGA guys, with DP World Tour guys, and Live guys, and Abraham Answer walked away the winner in that event. He's going off at, I think, 150-1 right now. And he had COVID the week before the Masters last year, and he ended up missing the cut. But in his previous two starts, his first two starts at the Masters, two really good results. So those are the type of values that I'd be looking for from the Live Tour.
You didn't mention Tiger Woods at all, so I will. 66-1.
To what?
I don't think
Tiger Woods to win the Masters? Are you kidding me?
Well, Pat, we
never
are,
done that
as
before.
content people, we are contractually obligated. Even if he's not going to win, I have to ask you, like, what do you think Tiger is going to do in this tournament? He's obviously someone that's going to draw a ton of interest, whether he should or not. 66-1 right now at our show sponsor, BetMGM. What is your best guess as to what we see from Tiger on Thursday and Friday? Does he make it to the weekend? What do we see from Tiger Woods here at the Masters?
I think Tiger makes the cut, but these conditions are the absolute worst conditions for him. He needs it to be kind of hot, especially with, like, Augusta's a hard course to walk to begin with. A lot like Riviera, where it's the only time that we've seen him this year, and he always plays better at Augusta than he does at Riviera. Like, Riviera is historically his worst course, and he made the cut that week, played two really good rounds. So I could see him having a really good Thursday and or Friday. He's yet to put together consecutive rounds in a very long time of really good golf, but Bernhard Langer makes the cut here at like 63. Tiger's going to be fine for ages at Augusta. He knows where to put the ball. But if it does get too cold, too windy, like, his back might seize up. Like, these are the things that we worry about with Tiger at this point. So I think he's minus 275 to make the cut. But I will wager that most sports books, because turns out they like to entice people to wager on their sports books, that you could probably find a boost that's probably capped to around even money on Tiger Woods to make the cut this week. And I think that will exist in almost every sports book going.